Guys, I've been waiting to do a video like this for a long time, ranking each Halo game from worst to best, and I was thinking just how is the best way to do it? Do I base it on campaign? Do I base it on the multiplayer? Do I do a combination of both? And I was thinking, well, a lot of features were added from every game as the series has gone on, so then the newer games can have a lot more features than the past games, but I kind of like the past games better, so giving it a ranking is very difficult. So I thought the best way to do it is to rank each game from worst to best, depending on how much fun I had playing the game during its prime. I've played Halo for 20 years, I've played every game, I've played Halo for probably like 20 to 30,000 hours. I figured it was the fairest way to do it, and it is my own personal ranking, so if you disagree, if you agree, leave a comment down below of what your ranking is, but let's get into the video. Now in last place, and this could go to either Halo 4 or Halo 5 because they're both very close, but I ended up going with Halo 5 just because the campaign was terrible. Personally with Halo 5, it was an ultra competitive shooter, it did that job very well, but in terms of matchmaking, there was very little on offer if you just wanted to relax with your friends. For the 5 years that Halo 5 Guardians was available, I really couldn't play any matchmaking with my friends because even playlists like Action Sack had strict skill-based matchmaking. I will give Halo 5 credit, Warzone and the custom games and Forge were fantastic. Even the multiplayer when I was feeling competitive was awesome, but the campaign was such a letdown. Straight off the bat, you're already losing half your marks because that campaign was terrible. Next up is Halo 4, the first entry into the Halo franchise by 343 Industries, where they specifically hired staff that wouldn't share the Bungie image of what made the series popular. Now Halo 4's campaign I actually don't mind. I think the final scene between Cortana and the Master Chief is really well done. Halo 4 also introduced the Ricochet game mode, which to this day is one of my favorite multiplayer modes. It also had the sticky detonator, which I thought was a lot of fun, but boy did they add so many Call of Duty mechanics into the game, so much so they completely lost me. I'm going to talk about it even more when I come to Reach, but Halo 4 had a pocket shotgun, you could spawn with plasma grenades, a plasma pistol, vehicles were borderline useless. When the game first came out, there was no sniper rifles or any power weapons on the map, and the backlash was so extreme and the population died so quickly. 343 had to make huge changes to their initial vision of the game. When I look back at Halo 4, no descope mechanic, instant respawns. In matchmaking, the weapons on the ground would despawn within 8 seconds, so if you're playing Capture the Flag where the respawn is 10 seconds, once you die, the weapon is gone forever. That was even more annoying. In terms of the art style, how the game actually looked, it is my least favorite Master Chief version. Even the grunts and the elites, their iconic look was pretty much gone with Halo 4. And the Prometheans weren't that fun to fight. They felt very bullet spongy. I liked the teleport feature, but it just wasn't for me. In summary, Halo 4 is a fun arcade shooter. I did enjoy when it came to PC. I played through the game, had fun with it. I wouldn't want Halo to ever go in that direction again, but it's an okay game. I think it's really important for me to note that even though I'm rating these games from worst to best, I spent easily 5 to 10,000 hours on Halo 5. I probably spent 1 to 2,000 hours on Halo 4, and every Halo game has its positives. I don't think any Halo game is inherently bad, and I really don't care about the 343 Bungie divide or all that crap. To me, it only depends on if I had fun playing, what did I like, what don't I like, what would I like to see in the future. So let's move on to the next game. So moving on, and this is where my list gets very controversial, but next is Halo Reach. And before you get your pitchforks out, hear me out, I have a very good reason for thinking the way I do, so let me break it down. Halo Reach took away a lot of staples from the Halo franchise that I really loved, and I remember when the game came out, it was met with so much backlash. The introduction of Bloom, the progression system was a step down from Halo 3, the multiplayer maps are straight rips from the campaign and they did not play well. I love the Forge mode with Reach. I spent so much time playing custom games, but even the competitive scene, Bungie completely nuked it. They replaced the really fantastic Halo 3 1 to 50 skill ranking system with Halo Reach's arena-based system, which ironically is almost a CSR-based system very similar to Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, and it was not received well. The only time that playlist was ever popular in Halo Reach's entire life cycle is when it was given bonus XP, and if you played the playlist, there was a very small chance you get a weekend jackpot. A huge bunch of XP, and that bumped up the population so you could actually play it, but as soon as that weekend was over, it plummeted to almost the least populated playlist. It was so bad that Bungie actually had to add in the MLG playlist specifically for competitive players, but even then, it was a social playlist. Like, you know in Halo Infinite how you get the ranking system, Gold, Platinum, Onyx? There was none of that. You could match anyone in the MLG playlist, so Halo Reach, in terms of competitiveness, was a big step down, but in saying that, I'm not a super competitive player. I love playing social matchmaking with my friends, and Invasion and BTB were great for that. The biggest downside was the maps. The arena maps were straight ports from the campaign, and a lot of the time they did not play very well. Bungie themselves, upon releasing Halo Reach and ex-Bungie staff, have said, oh, we wouldn't do that again. We would not port campaign maps. into the multiplayer. The biggest gripes for me were the loadouts, bloom, armor lock, giving someone indefinite active camo, because if they get a sniper rifle you can never see them, and really it set the foundation with the loadout that Halo 4 followed. And to me, it already felt like Bungie had its sights set on Destiny, and they were testing the waters for mechanics they could use. The campaign, don't get me wrong, I thought it was awesome. Noble 6 is an absolute badass, and I'm still part of the crew who thinks he's alive in a cave, and I would be totally open to that actually being true, but I know that's never gonna happen. So I guess to sum it all up, Reach did have its positives. Forge and custom games were at their peak, at least until Halo 5, but it was so many steps down in overall gameplay, progression, ranking system, map quality. I can totally understand if you played custom games all the time and it was one of your first experiences online, it may be your favorite game, and that is completely okay. And that's one thing I really wanted to point out with this video. Often I see people saying, oh, Halo Reach is the best. Oh no, Halo 3 is the best. Everyone has their preference, and everyone's opinion is okay. You like sprint, you don't like sprint. You like armor abilities, you don't like armor abilities. At the end of the day, we're all Halo fans, and we all want to see the series do well. So moving on to the top 4, and we have Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's gameplay is probably one of my favorite in the series, and it would be higher if the campaign was actually fleshed out the way it should be. Halo Infinite's multiplayer is one of the best sandbox shooters I have ever played. The grapple hook is one of the best additions I've seen to the Halo franchise. It also has one of the best art styles / art directions in the Halo series. I honestly wouldn't mind if 343 kept this art style indefinitely, because it does look so good. Master Chief looks probably the best in Halo Infinite that he's ever looked. Forge is also fantastic. The custom games that are coming out with the scripting are awesome, and I'm having a blast playing it. I honestly think if 343 didn't botch the launch, or I should say the content after launch, there was no desync and the other plethora of issues the game has, it might be my favorite Halo game of all time. But until 343 actually gets to that point, I can't rate it any higher than 4th. So that leaves us with Halo 3, Halo 2, and Halo Combat Evolved. And in 3rd place, we have Halo 2, the grand sequel to the original Halo game. It is my favorite campaign of all time. Super bouncing, button combos, the culture behind Halo 2 you had to experience. It was a culture-defining game that kickstarted Xbox Live, and Halo's popularity exploded when Halo 2 first came out. Now, after saying all of that, you're like, Remy, why isn't that your #1 game then? And it's because I live in Australia. Halo 2 was the worst game to play online. The lag from Australia connecting to American servers back in 2004, 2005, that era of gaming was terrible. Again, I rate this list on my overall enjoyment, and as much as I love the campaign, and as fun as the multiplayer was on good connection, at times it was really rough. This brings me to my top 2 games, and both of these games are fantastic. Hell, every Halo game is pretty damn good. But second is Halo 3. And to me, the benchmark Halo 3 set in 2007 has not yet been reached by game developers in the year 2023. There are games that come close, but the features Halo 3 had at launch have not been replicated in a Halo game since. If I said to you that Halo Infinite had playable elites, 4-player local campaign split screen, a competent theater file sharing system, so you could upload and share your community moments at the click of a button and they were saved forever, and that it had a ranking system that was aesthetically pleasing to look at, but also highly functional. Halo 3 maps were fantastic. The Pit, Narrows, Valhalla, Guardian, the introduction of Forge and Griffball. As far as personal experiences go, that is why Halo 3 and Halo CE are so high on the list, because of the memories I have. But ordering a pizza on a Friday night, gaming and playing Halo 3 BTB with the boys, I'll always remember that, and it was so damn fun. Halo 3 was also very culture defining. Finish the fight was an iconic phrase. I also think the Arbiter looks the best in Halo 3. I love his model in it, and Halo 3 is always going to be a game that's close to my heart. I have so many fond memories of playing it. But let's move on to my favorite Halo game of all time. Halo Combat Evolved. And I get chills just thinking about the memories I had playing this game. In terms of multiplayer and campaign, it set the stage of what Halo was to become. It introduced the Flood, Master Chief, and it is my favorite Halo multiplayer in the entire series. The mechanics that were shown off in Halo Combat Evolved have never been replicated in a Halo game. It's actually funny that Halo Infinite is probably closest to Halo CE in terms of overall mechanics in the game. Launching weapons to yourself, even the plasma rifle had so much versatility. If you shot someone with a plasma rifle in Halo Combat Evolved, you would freeze them in place, and that was removed with Halo 2. Every weapon in Halo Combat Evolved, minus the Needler, had a use. There's just something about Halo Combat Evolved that the other games don't have. The campaign itself has a horror element that never really came back after CE. It also just felt like it had a lot of freedom to it. Because the sandbox runs so deep, a lot of the trick shots I did the last couple years were on Combat Evolved, and it is the one Halo game I love watching competitively. The buddy respawning system, so you always spawn on your teammate, it is a very high skill game, but I grew up on this game, I love it to bits. It started the series off, and it's always going to be my favorite. Now before I wrap the video up, 2 honorable mentions, Halo 3 ODST and Halo 2 Anniversary. Halo 3 ODST's soundtrack is one of my favorites of all time. The smooth jazz, peaceful rain, and then you got the really intense tracks. It is probably one of the best gaming soundtracks of all time. And playing as an ODST is pretty fun. And Halo 2 Anniversary, well, that was a reskin of Halo 4. It wasn't the proper Halo 2 Anniversary we deserved. I did enjoy playing it from time to time, but it was so easy to aim because the aim magnetism and the bullet magnetism was so strong. So Halo 2 Anniversary, if I was just rating the game by multiplayer, would be at the very, very bottom. So guys, that is my list. Every Halo game has its good and its bad. Each one of us have different memories that makes each Halo game for us great. We all share this wonderful franchise, and I hope we have many more years to come of playing Halo. So with that said, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Leave your best to worst or worst to best list in the comments below. I look forward to reading them and why. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.